Hi, welcome to Strong as You Think. I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm glad you've joined me. Today, I want to talk about procrastinating, and it's something I've had a few people ask if I have an episode on. And so it's time to do an episode on procrastinating. I'm not going to procrastinate it. So when we procrastinate, we don't want to do something. There's something that's unpleasant, we don't like, we feel scares us. It's hard. So we put it off. We avoid the unpleasantness. And sometimes this is because at some level we don't feel safe. And I know that's something that goes on a lot right now. We talk about not feeling safe, and that's what's going on with a lot of things. But the reality is I think there's a lot of times when we don't feel safe and we don't realize it, and it causes us to act in different ways that we may not normally act if we felt safe. So it is valuable to kind of consider that as a possibility. So the reality is, though, when we're delaying something, we're going to still have to do it. Some kind of consequence will happen if we don't do it, or if we don't do it right away. And so the reality is we're not avoiding all unpleasantness by delaying this. So I like to think about it like, say you have one of those beach balls, you blow up a beach ball, and we're going to say like that's the thing we're avoiding, or we don't want to see it. So it's like you push a beach ball under the water, right? But what happens is when you let go, it pops right back up again. Okay, it's still there, and you've got to expend some effort in keeping it down. And that's kind of what procrastinating is like. You don't want to see that beach ball. You don't want to deal with what's going on, so you push it under, right? But you still got to use that hand to keep it under. So there's a part of you that is still dealing with the idea that you have to do this thing that you procrastinated. It's not completely gone. At a level somewhere, you're dealing with it. You're pushing that beach ball under, right? So you have not, logically, you have not got rid of it. So you still have to deal with that thing when it eventually pops up again, okay, when the time comes. And you are dealing with all this time before, where at some level you're holding that down. You're dealing with some stress, with some, of not looking forward to it. And you still have those feelings in there, even if you're kind of pushing them to the side. They're still there, and they're still taking up some of your mental, emotional energy. So logically, it doesn't make sense, but we still do it because we don't feel safe at some level. So what do we do, right? So I kind of explained that it doesn't make sense, but sometimes we still do it. So if we still do it and it doesn't make sense, then what can we do to stop this? What can we do to start moving forward? Well, to feel safe, I've had a lot of success with just telling myself I just have to start it. I don't make big plans about finishing it. I just have to start it. Like, sometimes I think I get nervous to make a phone call, like I don't know, some sort of difficult phone call, and I don't want to do it. So it's almost too much to say I have to do it right this moment, because I think that's a strategy that some use, and it might work. Maybe you just say, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I do it right this moment. But sometimes if you're feeling not safe, sometimes you can't get yourself to do it in that moment, but you can kind of prepare yourself and say, okay, I don't have to do it right now, but I will do it in 2 hours. And I put it in my calendar with a reminder. I get things ready. Think about it. I have the number out. I know what I need to do, what I need to say. If it has to do with scheduling something, then I have my calendar ready before I get on the phone. But I just say, all I have to do is I just have to dial the number. I just have to push, call on my phone. And if I really can't do it, then I don't have to do it at that moment, right? But what I've noticed there is I tell myself I just have to do that much. But usually if I can get started, that's the hardest part. So if I get started, then I can continue and I can finish with the call. I may not like it. I still may have my heart racing during the call, but if I start to make that call, then I do it. But somehow it calms my mind a little bit more if I say I have an out. I feel safer if I have an out. I don't have to do it, but I will choose to make the first step. And sometimes it's that thing with when you're overwhelmed with a project, like I needed to clean out one of my kids' rooms and it felt like a really big project and I didn't want to get started. I kind of put it off for a while. And then I decided, well, what if I just do the dresser? And I still was putting it off. I kept thinking, oh, it's a lot to do. I don't want to deal with all their stuff. And then I said, okay, today I will do one drawer. And it was amazing. Like there was this kind of lift when I just thought one drawer. Okay, I can do one drawer. And so I went in there and I took everything out of the one drawer and I started cleaning out, and it didn't take that long. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I continued and I finished the dresser. But mentally and emotionally, I needed to have an out. I needed to know that I just had to do a small amount. I just had to. I made a commitment to myself to do the one. And so once I got started, usually it's that getting started for a lot of us. But when we can do that, we feel a lot safer. We don't feel overwhelmed. And if we do, we have an out. If I had been too much after the drawer, then I could say, okay, I did my drawer and that's good. I fulfilled my goal. And the thing is, sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to do it all now. Get all that out, get that started. It's such an ordeal. We tell ourselves all these stories, right? That it's going to be a big deal. Like if I have to do one drawer, I've got to do it all. And is that really true? For me, that wasn't true. And maybe it is easier on some level, I don't have to have everything there at once for several days, but it turned out that I did do it all. And so sometimes you have to just tell yourself something is better than nothing, and I'm going to do something today. And give yourself a piece, give yourself a chunk that you can do. And that's really given me a lot of success. And if I have to stop after the small amount, I stop. But then I've done something and I have momentum to work from next time. And then next time it's not as big of a deal, right? Because I've already done something. And I remember I could do it. I did do it before. And so I don't have to keep, I think it starts to give me evidence against some of the other stories that I've been building up in my mind. So that's what I would suggest to do when you're procrastinating. Really tell yourself the truth about what procrastinating is and that you're not saving yourself as much time. But I know that's not enough for most of us if we're having a problem, because we kind of know that. But really being honest with yourself and then giving yourself just really small goals to achieve. And then maybe give yourself a time at the end. But that works for some people. If that doesn't work for you, just do your chunk and see when you're motivated to do your next chunk. you know, get to know what is going to work for you, because different things work. Sometimes it works to have chunks, but then having a big hard deadline at the end, because some people need that to really motivate them. And some of us, that's just too overwhelming. And so we just have to take it one at a time and not think about that big. So think about how it feels to you. Think about that deadline and how it makes you feel. And, you know, if it's there and it kind of is that carrot for you, keep it. But if it feels like it just stops you and it kind of gives you a panic, don't. You could have it there, but don't look at it, and just look at what, you know, one step at a time. And I've had a lot of really good success with that. It sounds simple, but when you do that in a small, simple way, and you hold yourself accountable and you have someone to be accountable to, I think you'll find you will be a lot more successful. So that is procrastinating, my friend. And let's start on a small thing today or tomorrow. Today or tomorrow. All right. Bye.